Hello, 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 and welcome to Walk, Talk, Health. Disease and aging, and many health professionals these days consider aging to be a disease, are caused by two primary issues. The first one is DNA damage, and the second one is chronic inflammation. As the channel name suggests, you and I are going to take an amazing walk today, and we're going to discuss a topic that will help with both. If we combine the topics we discuss over a series of these walks, you really can significantly improve your health, your well-being, your longevity, and you really can live longer, healthier. So where are we today? We're at Indian Valley Trail and Waterfall. Now, at this time of year, the waterfall won't be flowing, sadly, but I'm told it's a cool trail that goes up 505 feet. It's approximately 3.4 miles as a loop. There are no toilet facilities here, so make sure you empty your bladder before you go, or you use one of nature's toilets known as a tree. So today we're going to be discussing a quite amazing enzyme called Nattokinase. Which is derived from a Japanese fermented soy dish called Natto. What we're going to discuss is what are the benefits to us. We're going to discuss how does it achieve those benefits and why it matters. And then thirdly, we'll get into some history of Natto and Nattokinase, and we'll talk about the correct dosages and what we need to intake to get all these amazing health benefits. So why did I choose the topic of Nattokinase? Well, in very simple terms, 32% of global deaths are due to some part of blockages of blood flow, whether that be blood clots, which get released and can cause heart attack and stroke, or plaque build up in the arteries, which also causes narrowing of blood flow, leading to potential for more blood clots and heart attacks and strokes. Natto and Nattokinase have an amazing positive effect on the body. One of the first things they do is break down blood clots, those very same blood clots that can cause heart attack and strokes. They can reduce the amount of plaque and calcification, reducing narrowing of the blood flow and again preventing heart attacks and strokes. It reduces triglycerides, which are these very dense fatty molecules that float around in our blood. It reduces what scientists claim to be dangerous for us, oxidized LDL. That's this small dense LDL that can easily embed itself in the wall of our veins. It boosts the good HDL cholesterol and reduces LDL generally, and in the process we have both lowered blood pressure and lower inflammation. So how does it achieve these amazing health benefits? Well, in the process of fermentation of the soybeans into the dish Natto, the Japanese dish Natto, a bacteria called Bacillus subtilis actually produces the Nattokinase, this all-important enzyme. In our body we have something called fibrin. It's a long protein strand, and in the case of blood clots, it forms a lattice work in the body. Imagine it like a mesh, and things like red blood cells, white blood cells, etc. get trapped in this mesh, and as a result it forms a clot. Now these clots are obviously important when it is actually trying to stop blood from escaping from the body, what places it's not supposed to. But if those blood clots aren't actually utilised by the body to seal a wound, then of course they float around the body, and that's when they can get into important places like the heart and brain and cause an awful lot of damage and potentially death. It does this by, in effect, the enzyme cuts up these long protein strands that form the mesh that obviously traps the blood cells and causes the clot. And once the mesh is cut up, it can no longer form that blood clot. Natto reduces calcification in the body because it's actually high in vitamin K2. We've talked about that in previous videos. K2 is essential for removing calcium from the body and depositing it in the bones. It reduces plaque buildup in the body because of its effect on this oxidized LDL. Oxidized LDL, is very small, dense particles of these lipoproteins that can easily get stuck in the arterial wall, and then the body detects this and sends its defense mechanism to get rid of the oxidized LDL. But in the process of trying to engulf it and consume it, the very cells that are sent to do that basically get larger and larger, causing swelling, which is what narrows the arteries and the veins and the capillaries, and leads to potential blockages for blood flow. The attempt to remove this oxidized LDL is actually what then creates as a byproduct inflammation. And as we know, chronic inflammation causes further disease. There have been a number of clinical studies and trials, both human and animal, which confirms what we've discussed so far. One in particular I'd like to review is one that took place in 2022, when 1,062 people took part in a study who were already confirmed as having carotid artery calcification and plaque buildup, the main artery that leads from the brain to the heart. And they followed them over 12 years with some pretty remarkable results. They discovered that with a high dose of nattokinase, 10,000 FUs, the thickness of the artery wall, which is where the plaque resides behind, as I say, as it bloats out and blocks blood flow, was reduced by 37%, and on average, and the total reduction in blockages was an incredible 95.8% was observed. They also noted a reduction in general LDL and a slight improvement in HDL, which is a very important healthy cholesterol, which I'll leave you to look into more. It reduces the amount of triglycerides, these dense fatty substances that float around in our body, and LDL, by increasing the body's production of lipoprotein lipase. This substance actually breaks down triglycerides and LDL and helps safely remove it from the body. In the clinical trials I mentioned, the findings were, in fact, that nattokinase actually performed better at removing these from the body than traditional pharmaceuticals like statins. These clinical trials have also determined that the blood clotting reduction that nattokinase undertakes, again, is superior to the pharmaceutical drugs that we take today for things like blood thinning. Nattokinase is a natural anticoagulant. What does that mean? It means it helps to reduce the viscosity, the thickness of the blood, and in the process helps thin the blood. In fact, again, as I mentioned already, in studies it was found to be a better blood thinner than the pharmaceutical grade blood thinners. And actually, on that subject, if you are taking blood thinners, please do consult a doctor before considering taking nattokinase. In fact, general as a rule, before you look into any of the treatments and protocols we discuss on these walks and talks, you should probably discuss with your doctor to make sure it doesn't affect any other treatments or medication you're already taking. The discovery of natto in the 8th century, over 1,000 years ago, I think is actually quite fascinating. It was an accident. Basically, soybeans that were left unattended were attacked by bacteria, starting the fermentation process, and then people started eating it and realizing it had health benefits. So for over 1,000 years, the Japanese have been consuming natto, and by association, nattokinase And it's no coincidence, I believe, that the Japanese people have one of the lowest rates of any kind of cardiovascular issue, including death from heart attacks, than anywhere else in the world. In fairness, they also have a very healthy dietary regime, consuming an awful lot of fish, which is high in omega-3 fatty acids, a video I covered previously, and I will probably link at the end of this one. And they of course do take exercise and community and various things that improve health generally to heart, and I think those all contribute. So it's not just the nattokinase, but I think it plays a big part. So now that we've discussed all those incredible benefits, we've discussed exactly how it does that and the origins of natto, we now need to move on to exactly how do we get this nattokinase into us. Obviously the first choice would be to consume the natto itself, which obviously is rich in nattokinase, but to get the health benefits we've discussed already, you need a higher dose, or you need to consume an awful lot of natto, which of course is a choice. In the case of supplementation, which I do daily, the recommended dose for maintenance to avoid these illnesses, diseases, blood clots, plaque build-up, etc., is between 100 and 200 mgs per day, or 2,000 to 4,000 FUs, depending on how your supplement is measured. In the case of the studies, you recall me saying they put them on 10,000 FUs of nattokinase, but this was because the damage had already been done. The plaque was already in the carotid artery, and this was very much a study to see whether that could be reversed. And the amazing thing was, nattokinase did exactly that. It did reverse that arterial plaque, which is, I think, awesome. Okay, it's time to ask a big favour that I do on every single one of these walks. I would ask you to support the channel. The sole objective of this channel is to reach as many people as I can to help them on their health journey. So can I ask you to please hit the like, subscribe and the bell notification if you want to receive notifications of future videos that I release. But most importantly, can you please comment? Can you either ask a question about the topic we discussed today, maybe tell me where in the world you are watching from, maybe mention a trail that you like to walk on, because this helps the YouTube algorithm determine engagement, and as a result push it out to more and more people, which then in turn helps me reach more people to help them on their health journey to live longer, healthier. Thank you in advance for your help. I'd like to point out what I consider at least to be beautiful trees when I do these walk and talks. I mean, how cool is that? That was just a little bit of time lapse to give you an idea of how amazing this trail is. We are on our way now to what should be the waterfall, but of course at this time of year there's going to be no running water. You can even see in the stream there, when there's supposed to be water, there's nothing. But nonetheless, it's a very pretty part of the trail, and I thought you'd enjoy seeing it. So we're coming up on what should be the waterfall at other times of the year. Probably a good place to revisit in February, although actually I think I'm wrong. It looks to me like the path actually continues up over there, so to be continued. Stick with me, let's see if we can find this waterfall. Okay, I'm going to have to correct myself again. We just got to the top of the Ken Heath waterfall trail. Met another hiker who told us that in fact back down there, the way we came, where I first said the waterfall was. Actually was it. As I say, we've not done this trail before, so I just assumed because the trail kept going that the waterfall would be higher, not lower. So that was it, and we are now going to go down this path, which evidently takes us back to the college. But I'm going to stop filming for now. You got the gist of it. It's a beautiful trail. I think that was the 505 feet elevation that it mentions in the signpost. Let's recap. Nattokinase was discovered by accident over 1,000 years ago by soybeans fermenting. Within that, nattokinase, this amazing enzyme that helps with things like blood clots. It breaks down fibrin, which is a protein chain in our body that creates a mesh, which in turn can create blood clots, which in turn can create heart attacks and strokes. It can reduce the amount of plaque build up in the body, triglycerides and LDL, all of which cause arterial blockages, again, which can lead to heart attacks and strokes. It reduces oxidized LDL, importantly, these small dense LDL particles, cholesterol, that can get stuck in the sidewall of heart and again allow other materials to build up on them, causing potential blood clots and leading to heart attacks and strokes. It also helps with the reduction in inflammation throughout the body, and it helps with blood flow as it an anticoagulant and helps the blood become thinner and therefore flow more freely through the veins, and thereby reducing blood pressure. This is all very important because 32% of deaths globally are caused by some form of blockage to blood supply, and nattokinase clearly helps address the two main causes, which is blood clots and plaque. I hope you've enjoyed this walk and talk. I certainly have. Please join me next time when I'm going to discuss some of my other favourite supplements and routines that maybe don't in their own right warrant an entire walk and talk, but nonetheless have some amazing benefits for the human body. For example, lutein, which is awesome for our eyesight. More next time. Look forward to seeing you then.